Let's take a trip back to 1937, when Hollywood fell silent. Jean Harlow, the blonde bombshell, passed away at just 26 in a cold hospital room. She was the brightest star, saving MGM from bankruptcy, captivating the world. But here's the heartbreaking irony: this woman with fame, fortune, and love had no freedom. Harlow dreamed of being a wife, a mother, but her own mother, Jean Carpenter, forced her into the role of a sultry icon. Every smile on the silver screen hit a broken heart. The public called her a seductress, but she just wanted to be loved for herself. Her mother, like a puppeteer, controlled every move, from contracts to dark secrets. Rumors swirled that Harlow knew something a secret from her husband, Paul Byrne, about MGM and gangsters. When she collapsed on set, her mother blocked doctors, as if determined to keep her a star forever. Kidney failure poisoning or a deadly plot. Who was behind Harlow's death? Her mother, Hollywood, or a shadow in the dark? Stick around to uncover the truth behind Jean Harlow's platinum smile. Chapter 1. Jean Harlow, the little girl violated by her mother's dreams. Kansas City, 1911. A blonde, blue-eyed baby lay in a crib in a grand home. Harleen Carpenter, a name no one would remember. Later, she became Jean Harlow, the blonde bombshell who drove Hollywood wild. But here's the shocking truth. This woman the world adored never wanted to be a star. She dreamed of a cozy home, a husband, and a child. But her mother, Jean Carpenter, had other plans, a path lined with thorns. Picture a quiet evening. Harleen sitting beside her mother on the sofa. Jean, a failed actress herself, saw her daughter as a golden ticket. "You'll be famous," she declared, her voice firm. Harleen, only 12, lowered her head, forcing a smile. Her eyes held a quiet sadness. She had beauty, wealth, but lacked the one thing she needed most: freedom. Her mother judged her as destined for stardom, as if Harleen had no choice. Deep down, she felt like a puppet, manipulated and violated by a dream that wasn't hers. In 1923, her mother dragged her to Hollywood. The studios buzzed with cameras, but Harleen felt suffocated. She stood in a silk dress, hands clenched, longing to run home. "I don't want to act," she whispered to a friend. But her mother wouldn't listen. Rumors said when Harleen, at 16, got pregnant with her first husband, Chuck McGrew, her mother forced an abortion. No children, only fame, she said in a small room, her voice icy. Harleen sat on the bed, clutching her stomach, tears streaming, her heart shattered, feeling her mother had stolen her future. She married McGrew, living amid Beverly Hills parties. But her mother called daily, pushing her back to Hollywood. The marriage crumbled. Once, Harleen tagged along with a friend to Fox Studios. A director spotted her golden hair, a heart-stopping smile. "Who are you?" he asked. Harleen gave a faint smile, just a girl. But he saw a star. She signed a contract, acting alongside Laurel and Hardy. In one scene, her dress tore, revealing long legs. The public went wild. But Harleen cried in the dressing room, staring in the mirror, whispering, "This isn't me." Her mother stood outside, smiling like a victor. Harleen felt herself fading. Every screen smile was a stab of pain. Hollywood began to strangle her, and her mother tightened the leash. But something darker loomed, a secret her mother hid, one that would pull Harleen into the shadows. Did Jean Harlow truly want to be a star, or was she pushed into a darker secret? Chapter 2. The image Hollywood imposed slowly killed Jean Harlow. By 1930, Hollywood was a dream-devouring machine. Jean Harlow, the girl who longed for a simple home, stood on set, her eyes full of hurt. She was the blonde bombshell, the sultry icon who drove America wild. But here's the heartbreaking truth: the star who moved millions despised herself. Harlow had fame, lucrative contracts, but lacked what she craved: to be loved for who she was. Her mother, Jean Carpenter, locked her in a glass cage, and she couldn't break free. Harlow stared into her dressing room mirror, her platinum hair gleaming. She'd just finished Hell's Angels, the Howard Hughes film that launched her to stardom. but the press called her an empty seductress. The public adored her beauty but judged her as a bad girl. Her mother called daily, her voice firm, "You must stay the bombshell, it's everything." Harlow bowed her head, tears falling, her heart aching. She was forced into sheer dresses, nearly bare, for steamy scenes. "I don't want this," she whispered to a friend, her voice trembling. Each scene was a knife, violating her soul. The hair dye peroxide, ammonia, soap burned her scalp. Rumors said the chemicals seeped into her blood, a slow poison. Her mother didn't care, saying, "Platinum hair is your golden ticket." Harlow was judged, violated by the public's gaze and her mother's ambition. She read tabloids claiming she destroys men. She felt the world turn against her like a product on Hollywood's shelf. In 1932, Harlow signed with MGM, starring in Red Dust with Clark Gable. Her scene bathing in a barrel, forcing a smile, sent audiences into a frenzy. But when the cameras stopped, she curled up, eyes empty. "I just want to be loved," she told a co-star, her voice breaking. Her mother stood nearby, pushing her to work to exhaustion, as if fame was life itself. Harlow felt her mother's pressure draining her like an old wound festering. Then she met Paul Byrne, an MGM executive who promised to see the real her. She married him, hoping for escape. But Byrne had secrets: an ex-lover, Dorothy Millette, and shady debts. Harlow smiled beside him, but her heart was uneasy. She overheard Byrne whisper about Hollywood's dark deals, as if he knew something dangerous. Her mother, behind the door, said coldly, "Stay quiet, dear, to keep everything." Harlow was stifled by her mother, judged by Hollywood. But Byrne hid something, a secret dark enough to drag them both to ruin. Someone was watching, ready to make her pay. Was Paul Byrne her savior, or did he pull her into a deadly plot? Chapter 3. Harlow's complete collapse after Paul Byrne's death. The night of September 5th, 1932, in Beverly Hills, the Easton Drive house was pitch black. Paul Byrne, Jean Harlow's husband of 2 months, lay dead on the floor, blood pooling from a gunshot. A scrap of paper beside him read, "Last night was only a comedy." Harlow, just 21, trembled as she called Howard Strickling, MGM's fixer, her mother, Jean Poe Carpenter, yanked her home, her voice icy, act shocked. "Dear, to save your reputation." But here's the heartbreaking truth: the star Hollywood adored was now branded a killer. Harlow had fame, love, but no peace. Her mother and the public crushed her, and she fell apart. Harlow curled up in her mother's room, reading tabloids. They called her a man-destroyer, claiming she drove Byrne to death. Her mother stood by, her voice sharp, "Stay silent, dear, to save your career." Harlow sobbed, "I didn't do anything wrong," but no one listened. Byrne's ex, Dorothy Millette, had fought with him the night before. She killed herself soon after, fueling rumors. Some said Byrne owed $20,000 to gangsters, and his death was a hit. A maid whispered, "I saw a stranger leave that night, but MGM told me to shut up." Strickling and MGM boss Louis B. Mayer arrived before the police, flipping through Byrne's guestbook, as if hiding something. Harlow was judged, violated by lies. The press wrote, "She drove Byrne mad." Her mother forced silence, though Harlow wanted to defend him. She refused Mayer's demand to say Byrne was impotent, even if it could have saved her image. Each headline was a stab. Harlow felt the world abandon her, trapped in Hollywood's glass cage. She returned to Red Dust, forcing a smile, but her eyes held pain. Clark Gable said, "She's the bravest person I know." But inside, Harlow felt herself dying. The pressure from her mother and the scandal drained her, like a wound that wouldn't heal. Rumors said Byrne knew an MGM secret, shady deals with gangsters. Harlow might have overheard him whisper about a powerful name, a money laundering scheme. Her mother, behind the door, said coldly, "Don't speak, dear, to keep everything." Harlow stayed quiet, fearing she'd lose it all. The Easton Drive house, with its bloodstains, haunted her like a curse. Her mother stifled her. The public judged her. But Byrne hid something, a secret dark enough to kill them both. Did Paul Byrne take his own life because of Harlow? Or was he silenced for a secret her mother wanted buried? Chapter 4. a budding love that pushed Harlow deeper into the abyss. In 1933, Jean Harlow stood at Hollywood's peak. She was MGM's brightest star, saving the studio from ruin with films like Dinner at 8 and Susie. But here's the heartbreaking truth: the woman the world adored felt hollow. Harlow had fame, wealth, but lacked what she yearned for: true love and freedom from Hollywood's cage. Her happiness, like a soap bubble, was beautiful but fragile. Harlow stepped onto the set, her smile forced. Red dust with Clark Gable thrilled audiences, but she sat alone after takes, eyes sad. "I'm tired of being the bombshell," she told a co-star. The public loved her but judged her a seductress. Tabloids wrote cruel lines, cutting her heart. She was violated by stares and gossip, forced into an image she despised. Then she met William Powell, star of The Thin Man. She called him Poppy, her eyes lighting up beside him. For the first time, she felt loved for herself. But Powell refused to marry, saying, "I don't need another bombshell," Harlow cried. "I just want a family." In 1936, she carried Powell's child, but he wouldn't wed. She had an abortion in room 826, Good Samaritan Hospital. Rumors said the procedure left an infection, weakening her. MGM knew but hid it to protect her image. Harlow sought joy in work. In Susie, she showed sweetness and humor, outshining the bombshell label. She surpassed Cary Grant in fame, but her mother, Jean Carpenter, controlled everything. Her mother and stepfather, Marino Bello, squandered her earnings on fake gold mines in Mexico. Harlow discovered Bello's mistress, but her mother forced silence. She felt betrayed, imprisoned by her own family. Each screen smile hid her pain. She attended Hollywood parties, drinking to forget, but her eyes were empty. One night, she told a cousin, "I want to go back to Chuck McGrew, live a normal life." But Hollywood wouldn't let go. Rumors said she'd heard a secret from Byrne about MGM dark deals with gangsters. She stayed silent, but her heart was uneasy. Someone was watching, a shadow in the dark. Harlow's happiness was as fragile as a candle in the wind. Hollywood strangled her. Her mother manipulated her, but she knew something, a secret that could kill her. Could William Powell's love have saved Harlow? Or did it push her toward a deadly secret? Chapter 5. The Price of Harlow's Place at the Top. In 1937, Jean Harlow stood on the Saratoga set, but her eyes were dull, her face swollen. She was Hollywood's biggest star, saving MGM from collapse. But here's the heartbreaking truth: the woman who captivated the world felt herself fading. Harlow had fame, wealth, but lacked what she needed most: health and freedom. Hollywood and her mother crushed her, and despair was swallowing her whole. Harlow shuffled through the set, her smile forced. Headaches plagued her. Her breathing labored. "I don't know how I'll finish this film," she told her maid Blanche, her voice trembling. MGM knew she was ill but pushed her to keep shooting. A crew member whispered, "They say she'll be fine with a few days' rest." But Harlow wasn't fine. She collapsed, rushed to her small home on North Palm Drive. Her mother, Jean Carpenter, took control. A Christian Scientist, she believed prayer could heal, refusing doctor's calls. MGM boss Louis B. Mayer offered his physician, but her mother blocked him at the door, her voice cold. "No need." Harlow lay in bed, wearing Powell's sapphire ring, her eyes fading. She felt betrayed, not just by MGM, but by her own mother. The public still judged her a wayward bombshell. Tabloids whispered about her 1936 abortion, saying the infection weakened her. Others rumored the hair dye's peroxide poisoned her blood, a nurse said, before slipping into a coma. Harlow whispered, "They don't want me to live." Who were they? MGM? Her mother, or someone in the shadows? She was isolated, barred from friends. Her mother screened every call, like a gatekeeper of secrets. Harlow felt like a prisoner in her own home. She wanted to escape, to live simply, but Hollywood wouldn't release her. Rumors said she knew a secret from Byrne about MGM and gangster deals. She stayed silent, gripped by fear. Someone was watching, a shadow outside her window. Each breath was a battle. Hollywood strangled her. Her mother controlled her. The public judged her. Despair clung like a shadow. But she knew something a secret that could kill her. Did her mother and MGM let Harlow die? Or was she a victim of a deadly secret? Chapter 6. What's the truth behind Harlow's death? On June 7th, 1937, Hollywood went quiet. Jean Harlow, its brightest star, died in room 826, Good Samaritan Hospital, only 26. The blonde bombshell who saved MGM was now a name on a tombstone reading "Our Baby." Here's the heartbreaking truth: the woman who enthralled the world vanished, leaving an unsolved mystery. Harlow had fame, wealth, but no chance to live. Her mother, Jean Poe Carpenter, crushed her to the end, and the public judged her relentlessly. Harlow lay in her hospital bed, Powell's sapphire ring on her finger, eyes dull, breaths faint. Doctors said kidney failure killed her, but rumors spread like wildfire. Did hair dye poison her blood? Did an infection from her 1936 abortion weaken her? Her mother stood silent by the coffin, hiding details of her illness as if guarding a secret. Rumors said she deliberately concealed it, wanting Harlow to remain a star even as she died. A nurse recalled Harlow's whisper before her coma. "They don't want me to live." Who were they? Her mother, MGM, or a shadow in the dark? The public called her a wayward bombshell. Tabloids wrote cruel lines, slashing her legacy. Her mother, controlling everything, refused doctors, believing prayer was enough. An MGM worker whispered, "Strickling burned papers after her death. I saw smoke from his office." Darker rumors said Harlow knew a secret from Byrne about MGM and deals with gangsters like Abe Zwillman. Her mother forced silence, as if fame outweighed her daughter's life. Room 826, where she'd had her abortion, where she died, seemed cursed. Harlow was judged, violated by her mother, MGM, and the public. She was isolated to the end, a prisoner of her own stardom. William Powell wept, unable to believe she was gone. MGM rushed to finish Saratoga with a stand-in, as if erasing her trace. Each screen smile hid her pain. But her mother stood firm, her voice cold. "You must be a star, even in death." There was something her mother knew, a secret that made Harlow a threat. Harlow was crushed by her mother, Hollywood, and the public. Her death's mystery lingers. But a shadow out there holds the truth, forever hidden. Did Jean Harlow die of illness? Or was she buried with a deadly secret? Conclusion, legacy, and lessons. Jean Harlow, the blonde bombshell, was Hollywood's flame in 10 years. She starred in 36 films, from Hell's Angels to Saratoga, captivating America. She saved MGM from ruin but died at 26 in a cold hospital room. Here's the heartbreaking truth: the woman who held the world in her hands had no freedom. Harlow had fame, wealth, but lacked her deepest desire, a simple life. Hollywood strangled her. Her mother manipulated her. The public judged her to the end. On June 7th, 1937, Harlow passed in room 826, Good Samaritan Hospital. Her tombstone reads, "Our Baby," a nod to Harley and Carpenter, the girl who dreamed of motherhood. William Powell wept by her coffin. Hollywood fell silent. Doctors cited kidney failure, but rumors swirled. Hair dye poisoning her blood. An infection from her 1936 abortion. A nurse recalled Harlow's whisper, "They don't want me to live." Who were they? Her mother, MGM, or a shadow in the dark? The public branded her a wayward bombshell. Tabloids slashed her with cruel words. An MGM worker whispered, "Strickling burned papers after her death." Rumors said Harlow knew a secret from Byrne about MGM and gangsters like Abe Zwillman. Was she silenced to keep it hidden? Room 826, where she lost her child and her life, seemed cursed. Harlow was judged, violated by her mother, MGM, and the public. Her legacy lives on, inspiring Marilyn Monroe. But she's also a warning: fame doesn't buy happiness. Her mother forced her into stardom, stealing her dream of motherhood. MGM exploited her to exhaustion. The public loved her but judged her a seductress. Harlow was trapped in a glass cage. One rainy night in 1937, an MGM worker left Strickling's office with a secret envelope. He vanished forever. What was inside? Perhaps the truth about Harlow, a truth Hollywood buried. What do you think killed Harlow? Share in the comments. Did Jean Harlow die of illness? Or a deadly Hollywood secret?